These are the tracings of the illustrations that we put on Rod Steiger. The process took about 9 hours each time. It was a very complicated process, and we had to put Mr. Steiger under sedation a few times. With 8 people painting on him, you can imagine what that was like.
I think one of the amusing things that happened at the start of production of The Illustrated Man was the first day I arrived in the makeup room, saw Rod Steiger laid out there with all these makeup men working on his body, putting on the illustrations. And when he saw me come in, he lifted his head and scowled at me and said, "Next time I'm going to stick with Ernest Hemingway." No matter what your profession in this world, you're grabbing onto a piece of reality, interpreting it, and helping yourself and others to make do, but in the best sense of the word make do. In other words, we are the tension-collecting animals of this world. We are that particular creature in the world who decides to put away violence most of the time. So we put away the fact of violence, many kinds of facts that we would act out in the natural world beyond the city. And in order to inhabit cities, we put away actions. We save things. We are the only creature in the world that does this. Every other animal acts in the instant to destroy or run from destruction. We choose not to do so. We build walls, we build cities. And so inside these cities, inside these walls, we need artists. We need people like myself who take hold of a piece of reality and say, this is what it is. We've saved up attention for tears. So I, as a writer, come along and try to help you to cry at the right time. We save up attention of laughter, perhaps for our silly politicians. I come along as a writer and help you to laugh. We save up tensions of murdering. The wonderful fact about civilization is that most people do not murder, that most of us are peace-loving, that we do make do in the best sense. So I come along with a story and enable you for an hour to murder, so that the next day you don't have to do it in reality. Nietzsche puts it beautifully. We have art that we do not die of reality. Reality is too much with us. I think we know all of the basic facts of life, each of us. We know too much about death. We know too much about age. We know too much about love that sometimes fails us. People do go away. People do vanish. Friends go off over the world and never come back. Our children finally go out into the world on their own. All of us finally leave the fact of existence. Now, these build all kinds of tensions for us. So what I try to do is go to my typewriter and many days experiment with words to find out what my tension is. Do I need to laugh or cry on a particular day? I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. So I begin to type any word that comes into my mind. The dwarf, the night, the lake, the wind, a time machine. And then say to myself, why have you put that word down there? Why have you written the nursery, for instance, on the typewriter? What kind of nursery? Where? A nursery in the past? No. The present? No. What about the future? What would a nursery be like in the future? Well, it would be automated. It would provide you with an environment, let's say, so that you could go into that nursery and command it to take you to South America or Africa or the North Pole, and suddenly you're surrounded by the 3 dimensions and color of that environment. All right, put your children in such an environment. Show that environment to the parents. What does this do to the family relationship? And suddenly you're off and flying, all because you dared to put on paper the words the nursery. You didn't even know the story was in you, but you go with it.